Hello, I'm Noah Kretz, and today I'm going to be presenting my Philadelphia exploration final assignment. So this is the cover page for my Google Doc. It's fairly basic. All I put is a brief message saying that we were going to explore a couple nice places in Philadelphia, such as the state penitentiary, which once held Al Capone. So right here, I briefly described what the weather would be like on the trip, the flight schedules, and the hotel. So it's supposed to be really beautiful on the 4 days that we chose, which were the 19th through the 22nd. The plane would take off at 10:40 a.m. and you would arrive in Philadelphia at 12:14 p.m. in the Philadelphia International Airport, and you would fly out of Philadelphia on the 22nd at 8:20 p.m. and you would be back in Myrtle Beach at 9:55 p.m. So the hotel we would be staying at is a 4.4-star hotel out of 5. It's called the Loews Philadelphia Hotel, and it's only 10 miles away from the airport, which isn't that far of a drive. And your room would be $756 total, or $189 per night. Food is not included, but they do have a restaurant nearby, and they also have free Wi-Fi and a golf course. And this is a picture of the hotel. So I decided that the Independence National Historical Park would be a really good site for people to go see, just because of its historic properties. So I also thought that the Ben Franklin Institute would be cool, just because there's this monument in the middle of that museum, and this would remind a lot of people of the Lincoln Memorial, which I personally thought was cool. Then the Eastern State Penitentiary, which I talked about in the cover page. I thought this was really cool because it's an old-timey prison, and this once held the drug lord Al Capone. The next attraction is Betsy Ross's house, and this house is very interesting because this is where the first American flag was sewn. This is also really interesting because you can tour the entire house and get almost an interview with a lady that's impersonating Betsy Ross. And the last attraction that we could visit is the Philadelphia Zoo. And I chose the Philadelphia Zoo because they have really cool tiger attractions where the tiger can be walking above you. So I just thought that would be really cool for people to see. So right here is the brief overview of the trip. So it says when the group arrives in Philadelphia, they will check into the hotel at 12:30 p.m. Once they get to the hotel, they can eat at the restaurant within the hotel's main floor, and it should be about 2 p.m. And by then, they could go to the Philadelphia Zoo, which I thought would be really cool for the first attraction, just to get people into the trip. And I also gave them credit for their tiger attractions like I did previously. And I said they could leave the zoo around 5:30, which would give them about 3.5 hours to run around the zoo, which is a lot of time. So then they could go golfing at the Scotland Run Golf Club. That's the golf club that's associated with the hotel. And the next day they could go to the Eastern State Penitentiary at 12 p.m. And once again, I described that it held Al Capone, and it's just a tourist attraction now. And after they leave the penitentiary, it would be about 3:30, and they could go visit Betsy Ross's house. And again, this is where the first American flag was sewn. And after that, it should be about 5 p.m., and the group can go back to the hotel and relax. So the next day, the group can visit the Franklin Institute at 11 a.m. The Franklin Institute is a science museum in the center of science and education research in Philadelphia. It's named after the scientist. Whose statue is in the museum, Benjamin Franklin. And after they go to the Benjamin Franklin Museum, they can go to Sabrina's Cafe and Spencer's too. This is clearly a cafe, but they have a lot of nice breakfast food, and if they don't want breakfast, they can get lunch or dinner there too. So the next day that they go out will be the last day, and this is when they're going to visit the Independence National History Park at 10 a.m., and then they can leave around 12. So since the plane would take off 8 hours after they leave, that would leave them plenty of time to go do whatever they wanted. So then here is my outline so that you can see what's happening. And then here's my works cited page. So this is the first Google Sheets that we had to make that just outlines how much one part of the trip would cost. So it says the flight is $143 for a round trip per person. The hotel is $756. The sightseeing would be $113. Transit from place to place would be $34. Food is $160. I don't know what. And the total cost was $1,206. So here is the second Google Sheets that we have to make that outlines how much money is going to be spent on each day. And then we had to make a small graph that goes along with it. So the hotel costs the same every night. The flight, I split it up into $71.50 for Sunday and Wednesday. Then the sites are fairly simple, just $25, $21, $51, and $61. That all adds up to $113. And then once again, it lists the transit, the food, and the total cost for everything. The last Google Sheets that we had to make is to describe everything further, how much and what money is going to be spent on. So for the flights category, we put down the cost again and where the flights would be going to and from. So right here it says it's going to be going from Myrtle Beach to Philadelphia, and when they're leaving, it's going to go from Philadelphia to Myrtle Beach. That's $143. And I didn't have to list the hotel just because there's only one thing that could possibly be spent on, which is the room. So in the sites, we put the Philadelphia Zoo, which is about $25, but it's $24.95. Next, we have the State Pen in Betsy Ross's house, which is $14 and $7. Then the Ben Franklin Institute, which is $51, and then the Independence National Historical Park, which is $16. Next, for transit, I put the hotel to zoo and back is $7. The hotel to the state penitentiary and to Betsy Ross's house and then back to the hotel is $12. The Ben Franklin Institute is and back is $10, and the Independence National History Park is $5. So the food, on the first day when you get there, where you eat at the hotel, so that's $30, and then you go out for dinner the second day, or you eat dinner at the hotel the second day, which is $40 for dinner, and then the third day you go to the Sabrina's Cafe, which I said previously, which is $50. And then you eat dinner at the hotel for the last day, which is, again, $40. So for Google Maps, we had to lay out what attractions we'd be going to and where our hotel is. So right here, I marked the hotel. And then I also marked the walking tour, which is up here to the Benjamin Franklin Institute. And then to Sabrina's Cafe, and then you walk back. So I have all of the points color-coded for the attractions, as well as having them appropriately marked for what you do there. I also have these lines going across the screen which helped me find the distance in miles between the points. I also have marked the airports that you fly from. So here's the Philadelphia airport, and then the Myrtle Beach airport is all the way down here. So the Google drawing that we had to make, I made mine fairly basic, and I called it iFly, and I decided to make a little airplane that was flying around a globe. And then I just put little lightning bolts here. I was gonna put clouds up here, but I decided not to just because it would look cluttered up being up there in the corner. So for the Google Slides, it was fairly easy. All we had to do was take each part of the trip and just outline them in their own space. So for the Philadelphia trip by Noah Kretz, the weather and city. So the weather between August 19th and August 22nd would be very sunny. It would be in the high 80s and 90s. And Philadelphia is also the original capital of America, which I thought was very interesting. So the flight information was stated that you would fly out of the Myrtle Beach International Airport at 10:40 a.m. and you will arrive in the Philadelphia International Airport at 12:14 p.m. and your returning flight would leave Philadelphia at 8:20 p.m. and arrive in Myrtle Beach at 9:55 p.m. And the ticket would be $143 per person. So the hotel information states that you would be staying in a 4.4-star hotel called the Loews Philadelphia Hotel, and it's only 10 miles away from the airport that you would be flying into. And your room would be $756 total, or $189 per night. And food is not included, but they do have a restaurant, and the hotel also has free Wi-Fi. And they have a golf course. So for the walking tour, it's only 2 miles long, including going up there and back. And you would just walk to the Benjamin Franklin Institute and then to a restaurant where you eat, which is over here, which I told you about before, where you can get really good breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the cost per person would be $143 per person for the flight, $113 in sites per person, and $34 per person for transit. So everything else has a constant price no matter how many people are going. And right here we have a short video and a picture right here. So that's just a little bit of the video that I have listed in my Google Slides.